Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone.
Representatives from the Ontario Provincial Police say that they're searching for an unknown number of suspects this week after a truck and trailer loaded with more than $90,000 worth of condoms were stolen from a property in Oxford County. According to reports, police were alerted to the theft in Zora Township around 5:30 a.m. on November 5th. The suspects were allegedly able to gain access to the property by damaging a fence, and once inside proceeded to damage several vehicles that were parked there. Before leaving, the suspects stole a white freight truck with a Nova Scotia license plate as well as a trailer with an Ontario license plate. The trailer was loaded with more than $90,000 worth of Skin brand condoms and accessories. At the time of this recording, police say that they have not determined how many people were involved in the crime and that they're currently reviewing surveillance footage from the property. It's unclear if the condoms were specifically targeted for theft or whether the thieves simply wanted the truck and trailer.
Authorities in Lee County, Florida say that a 34-year-old man's dramatic attempt to escape from police ended rather ironically this week, when he needed to be saved by the same officers he was fleeing from. The incident began when a man named Brian Gray allegedly stole a van belonging to his aunt and uncle on the morning of October 27th. According to Gray's aunt, he had been homeless since getting out of prison last year, where he had served a 12-year sentence. She had let Gray come over to take a shower, and he had stolen the keys to the vehicle sometime after her husband had fallen asleep. 2 days later, police were able to track down Gray and the stolen van. However, he fled. The resulting chase reached speeds of over 100 miles per hour, ending when Gray slammed into one of the guardrails on the Edison Bridge in Fort Myers, bringing the vehicle to a stop. Though this is the point at which most suspects would have surrendered, Gray apparently decided he would make one last-ditch attempt at escape. After exiting the vehicle, he quickly scrambled over the top of the guardrail and proceeded to do a front flip off the bridge into the Caloosahatchee River. According to reports, it's a 55-foot drop from the bridge to the water below. Unfortunately for Gray, he wasn't able to make it very far from there. He was rescued by police officers in a motorboat a short time later, while clutching onto one of the bridge's columns. He was then taken to the hospital for injuries he sustained during the crash and jump. Gray has since been charged with grand theft auto and fleeing and eluding.
Representatives from the NYPD say that they're on the hunt for an unidentified man this week after he reportedly attacked someone with an axe while dressed in a Halloween mask. According to reports, the incident took place while the 51-year-old victim and his wife were walking along Broadway near Columbus Circle around 10 p.m. on November 1st. That's when they were approached by the axe-wielding stranger who was wearing a Halloween mask of a grinning face, popularized by the dystopian horror movie The Purge. The unknown man began to shout, "I don't like you, I'm going to kill you," before slashing the 51-year-old in the arm with his weapon. The masked man then ran off towards the Columbus Circle subway station and disappeared. Though the victim sustained a deep cut to his arm and had to be taken to the hospital, thankfully his injury was not life-threatening and he was soon released after receiving treatment. The man and his wife were able to snap a photo of the suspect without the Halloween mask on before he fled. That photo is now being circulated by the NYPD in hopes that he can be identified. At the time of this recording, authorities are asking for anyone who thinks they know the suspect to come forward with any information they might have.
Authorities in Laurel County, Kentucky say that a 16-year-old girl who was being held captive has been rescued this week after she used a hand signal she learned on TikTok to secretly alert someone to her situation. According to reports, the 16-year-old girl was reported missing by her parents after she disappeared from her home in Asheville, North Carolina last week. It has been alleged that she initially left with the 61-year-old suspect of her own accord, but at some point became scared and was held against her will. The man, who has since been identified as James Herbert Brick, took the teenager to visit her relatives in Ohio, but left with her once the relatives realized she had been reported missing. The 16-year-old's whereabouts remained unknown until November 4th, when she was able to get the attention of a driver in another vehicle, while she and Brick were traveling along Interstate 75 in Kentucky. The driver noticed that the teen was doing a hand signal that he recognized from TikTok as a plea for help from domestic violence. The signal is to raise your hand, showing your palm with your thumb extended, then tuck your thumb into your palm and fold your fingers over it, as if trapping the thumb. Thankfully, the driver took the signal seriously and called the police while continuing to follow the vehicle. He continued to give updates to a dispatcher until officers from the Laurel County Sheriff's Office were able to stop Brick's vehicle and rescue the girl. A search of Brick's cell phone allegedly revealed images that, quote, portrayed a juvenile female in a sexual manner. Brick is now in police custody and is facing charges related to the images, as well as for unlawful imprisonment.
Authorities in Douglas County, Georgia say that a missing 16-year-old boy has been reunited with his family this week after he was lured from home by a stranger he met online. According to reports, the incident began when Jahan Zorian Fuller disappeared from his home in Douglasville on October 27th. Around 4 a.m. that morning, Jahan's father awoke to find that the teenager was nowhere to be found. This was instantly alarming because Jahan has severe autism and the mental capacity of a 10-year-old. Though Jahan does not speak to strangers easily and did not have any friends that his parents were aware of, his parents immediately became concerned that his disappearance might have been linked to the online video games he was playing. Things got even more chilling when Jahan's parents discovered a note that he had supposedly left that read, "I'm going west to improve my own life by finding work. Goodbye, I love you." The note sounded nothing like their son, and he had never had a job before, increasing fears that something had happened to him. The following day, Jahan's brother received a similar message over Instagram. Thankfully, police were able to use the message to trace his whereabouts all the way to New York. On November 2nd, FBI agents found Jahan hidden in a closet at a home in Eastchester. He was there with a 26-year-old man named Mark Valente, whom he had met while playing video games online. According to reports, Valente befriended Jahan and convinced him to come to New York with him. Jahan's parents say that though they had attempted to monitor their son's online activity, he had somehow been able to hide this relationship from them. At the time that Jahan disappeared, all of his messages on his PlayStation had been deleted. At the time of this recording, Valente remains in police custody and is currently awaiting extradition to Georgia.
Authorities in Boulder County, Colorado say that a man has been arrested and is facing numerous charges this week after he allegedly set his mother's home on fire while attempting to clear cobwebs with a blowtorch. According to reports, firefighters were alerted to the incident at the home on the 8800 block of Vermilion Road in Longmont around 4:30 p.m. on November 1st. When they arrived, they could see smoke billowing out of the roof of the single-story residence. Thankfully, the blaze was put out in about an hour and no one was injured. However, it did cause around $100,000 in damages. When authorities spoke to the homeowner's son, 39-year-old John Charles Streckenbach, they soon discovered the ridiculous reason the fire had started. Streckenbach had been trying to clear cobwebs in the crawl space underneath the home using a blowtorch. Things had been made even worse by the fact that he allegedly spent a full hour trying to fight the fire himself before calling for help. At the time the incident took place, Streckenbach was under a court order preventing him from being within 100 feet of his mother or her home. However, recently, his mother had been allowing him to stay there because he is homeless. When police searched Streckenbach, they found that he was also in possession of a small quantity of methamphetamine. Streckenbach was arrested on suspicion of first-degree arson, criminal mischief causing $20,000 to $100,000 in damages, possession of a controlled substance, and violation of a protection order. At the time of this recording, he remains in police custody.
Authorities in Norfolk, Virginia say that 3 people are dead this week and 2 others are seriously injured after a terrifying shooting outside a housing development. According to reports, the incident began on the evening of November 3rd at the Young Terrace housing development. The weather was nice and several children from the neighborhood were out playing while their parents and other neighbors sat outside to watch them. Among them were 45-year-old Nicole Loveland, her partner Deetra Brown, and 44-year-old Sarah Costine. At around 6 p.m., Nicole's 19-year-old daughter pulled up in a vehicle being driven by her boyfriend, Ziante Palmer. The 19-year-old exited the vehicle and began to walk towards where her mother and others were, when out of nowhere, Palmer pulled out a gun and began to fire at her. The 19-year-old was hit in the shoulder and fell to the ground, prompting her mother, her friends, and others in the neighborhood to run forward and try to intervene. Palmer continued to shoot at anyone who got in the way, killing Nicole, Dietra, and Sarah Costine. Nicole's daughter was seriously injured, as was another 39-year-old woman. Thankfully, both are expected to survive. While few details have so far been released about what led to the shooting, it is believed that it was the result of a domestic dispute between Palmer and the 19-year-old victim. The crime has shocked not only local residents but also authorities, who say they are horrified that it was witnessed by so many children. Luckily, it didn't take long for police to catch up with Palmer, who was arrested and charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of malicious wounding, and several firearms offenses. He is currently being held without bond.
Authorities in Solano County, California say that multiple people have been arrested and are facing charges this week in connection with the murder of a 19-year-old woman. According to reports, Leilani Beauchamp was last seen leaving a Halloween party in Sacramento County in the early morning hours of October 30th. Witnesses say she left the party with a 20-year-old airman stationed at the Travis Air Force Base named Juan Peralta. Leilani's body was found the next day in Monterey County. Investigators say they now believe that the murder was the result of a love triangle. After leaving the Halloween party, Peralta allegedly took Leilani back to the home that he rented with his girlfriend, 21-year-old Jessica Quintanilla, her 27-year-old brother Marco Quintanilla, and a third roommate. It's unclear exactly what transpired between them, but authorities allege that Jessica killed Leilani and her brother Marco helped to cover it up. At the time of this recording, Leilani's official cause of death has not been released. However, there are unconfirmed reports that she was shot. Following a search of the rental property in Fairfield, Jessica, Marco, and Peralta were all arrested, though Peralta has since been released. He was originally arrested on suspicion of accessory to murder, though it's unclear if investigators will continue to pursue charges against him or if they now consider him to be a witness instead. Jessica and Marco Quintanilla remain in police custody and have been charged with murder and accessory to murder respectively. That's it for this edition of Crimes of the Week. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest releases. Thank you for watching.